Hello everyone and welcome to our free online lesson. My name is Nabil Fikri bin Shaizan and I'm an application engineer from Ecosystem. So welcome to our free online lesson. So for today's topic that I would like to share with you is about the Inventor Ilogic. So we're going to go through the introduction or the basic things that you can use with Ilogic. So you can learn on how that you can simply use Ilogic to utilize your product into a better variation. Right. So this is basically the first thing that we like to take a look first, which would be the rules that we can use inside of Ilogic. So for those who don't know about Ilogic, so Ilogic is a rule-driven software, so that will allow an automation process on your design. For example, if you have the wrench tools at the bottom over here, or any tools, for example, I add some rules over here that allow me to change the length of these tools just a simple click of a button, right? So I don't need to go back and change the value and change any other properties. I just need to click some button and it will change. And because of these rules that I have created over here, not only that change the length, it will also allow the change on some of the things that you would like to be affected. For example, this particular length is about 60s. So in these simple rules, for example, the length is, let's say, more or equal to 60s but less than 80s, the thickness is about 1.5. However, when I change the value, I make this item over here a little bit longer, for example, above than 80s, right? And the thickness will be increased into 3.0. Right? So this is basically some of the simple rules that we can use inside of Ilogic. So it's basically almost the same with programming or coding, except it is much more user-friendly. So anyone can just simply use Inventor, so you can simply use Ilogic easily. Right, so this is the rules for the Ilogics. The other important things about Ilogic that will make your variation selection a little bit better is this dialog box that you can select from here. So Ilogics allow you to use your rule-driven and also some parameters that you have and then create it into a dialog box, so which you can just simply input the value over here, right? Just input the value, just select some other options, and then you just need to apply, and it will change automatically the file for you, right? So basically, this is the two things that I would like to share you before we go through the Ilogics on the uh, before we go through on how we can use on how uh, we can learn on how to use Ilogic. So I will show you some of these samples first for the Ilogic. Let me share first my inventor. Right. So this is some of the sample model that I have over here, which already which already created Ilogics inside. So if I go to this tab over here, the Ilogic tab here, then I can go to my form over here. So this is the place where I can use this button to automatically select the change based on this value that I have created. For example, this particular sink, I need it to be, let's say, a little bit shorter. So let's say 600s, and I want the depth to be longer. So let's say 7.5, and I want the width to be, let's say, 80. And I just need to click apply, and it will change and it will calculate automatically for you. Right? So not only the width or the size that you can select from here, there are other things that you can include inside of Ilogic, as well as options that you can create. So give it a little bit of time, so we needed to calculate because this is the first time that I have opened this one. Okay. So you can see just a simple click of button, just a simple input this value, it will change automatically like this. Right? So not only for the size, so let's say I want these door types to change from single to doubles, and I want these particular legs to have a wheels. Maybe I want to change the head to be a little bit higher. Right? So if I satisfy, so I can just simply click apply, and it will automatically calculate based on this input, and it will apply on my model over here. As you can see, it's now changed according to what I want, what I just simply input. Right? So if you do this manually, so if there are many variations that you have, so it's going to take a long time. So you're going to create multiple files. So with Ilogic, you can just simply create at one files, and this will just simply allow you just enter the value and just hit apply. Now, this is just one of the samples. So I'm going to show you how you can use, how you can create your own Ilogic files. For example, so let me open one of my sample files. So I have my part files over here. Right. So I have my part files. So one of the things about this is that I have already created these parameters over here. Right. So I have created the parameters. For example, if I change the value for example, if I change the value over here, so you can see it is already been changed, but this is not an Ilogic yet. This is only a parameter. So I believe everyone knows how to use parameters, how to create parameters. So parameters is quite simple, unlike Ilogics. But we're going to utilize these parameters inside of these Ilogics. Right. So directly from here, you can just simply use, for example, if you want to go to Ilogics, so you can click at the show tab over here, and then you can click Ilogic. So it will show the Ilogic tabs. So we have the rules that we can input over here, your programming language or coding. And then we have this form, which will be the interface for your Ilogic. For example, I'm just going to use these parameters. And I'm going to add form, and I just simply drag this particular form, this particular parameters. And you can see that we already have uh, our dialog box that we can use over here. So I'm just going to press OK, and just simply press this button. I can just simply use and change the value from here. So that is simply a basic one. You just click the form. However, we want to create something like I showed you before. So for that case, that you might not want to create it inside of these part files. So you can see what I do is that I created part file first. So this is not an assembly. This is all of this part is actually a multi-body part. So you can see that I have multiple bodies over here. That each individual bodies already apply with these parameters, and we also want to transfer these multiple bodies into assembly file a, as an individual part files. To do that, let me close this one first. And I'm going to go with assemblies. I'm going to place my part files instead of assemblies. So of course, I don't want this bulky individual part files that include everything. So this is one. This one is only for reference only. So if I go to my, so let me change my view first, so you can see much easily, right? So right now is only a single part file. So I want each of these parts will be as a single individual part. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open this one. So first, let me save first my my assembly file. So I save this one. Let's say name this one as a minute. Save this file. And I'm going to go back again, just double click into this file. So I have these multiple solid bodies. So I'm going to convert these multiple solid bodies into an individual component. So to do that, you can go to manage, then I can go to make component, and I can select each of these solid bodies and convert it into a component. So it will be transferred into my assembly file. So everything has been selected. So I just press next and okay. So we already added inside assembly. So I'm just going to return. All right, so we have two of these. So one is one single body parts, and the first one is that we use as reference only. So I don't want this one to be shown. So I'm going to turn off the visibilities. And I also don't want this one to be shown on my BOM list. So I'm going to just change my BOM structure. So this one is only for reference. Okay, so right now we have single part files. Now, if I go to my parameters over here, so you can see we don't have parameters over here, the same that we have on part files, right? So because this is an assembly file, which the parameter would be the main, join, and so on. So going to create new parameters, which we would like to link with our reference files. So the first one will be the width, and the second one, I'm going to name this one as a, say, my so we have the width and depth. So both of these on capital letters. So if you want to link to make sure they are not the same name over here, right? So you can just add one, or maybe this one just everything on capital letters, but the other one on lowercase. So we have width and depth. So we're going to go back and create so width, and the other one will be the depth. So the value, if I was not mistaken, so this one first will be 550 for the width, and the depth will be 580. So just simply copy and paste. So this one does not actually mean anything yet because this is actually an empty parameters which have no link. So if I try to change something over here, it will not change things over here yet. Visibility first. So to link back this value with the other value from part files, so I'm going to use Ilogic Rules. So we can go to Ilogic and go to Rules and add some rules over here. So let's say maybe this rule, I want to name this one as a unit. So we have our first view on our rules tools that we can use over here. So this is where the programming language or the coding language will be created over here. However, you don't have to worry if you have zero knowledge on programming language because this is actually quite easy. So you don't need to type much because most of these snippets already being included over here. For example, if I want my parameters coding to be input over here, programming, so I can just simply double click and it will show me the name of these parameters. So maybe not this one, maybe on this cabinet, these parameters. Right. So we have the depth and width from our part files. Just double click. And I'm going to double click on the depth also. So we have depth and width. And for this particular value of parameter, I want to link with my parameters that I have created. So that will be on the user parameter. So you can see this one is on the lowercase. So I want to be the same with this. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to press equal and just type in or just double click, and it will link this particular value almost. Right. So If I change the def over here, the value, so on the part file also will be changed, right? The part file of reference earlier. So I'm going to save first and close. So let's try to test this one. So already created the rules. Let's make this one, say 850, and as we can see, it's now linked to the reference over here. Right. So now that we have done that, so let's go to Ilogics. So we have our rules. We want to create a button which is on the form. So I'm going to add form. So this is where you can just simply create your button. So this is quite easy. So you just simply select and drag, and it will just simply show you over here. There are many things that you can control from here. For example, if I needed to change the name, so I can just click on the form over here and change the name. Right? Say cabinet. So maybe I want to change the size limit, or maybe the font. So I can just click the font, change the font that I want. I want to be a bit bigger. Right? And then let's say I want to change the visual. Maybe I want it to be black, dark. Maybe I want it to be silver. Right? So you can use and choose from here. Now, the other thing is that maybe I don't want to type in manually from here. Maybe I want to have a role that I can simply select or choose. So for that, I can go, let's say I want to have sliders on the depth over here. So the sliders, I want to give it a limit. So for example, this one only available for me for around 400 until 600 only. Right. So for that, I can just select and change the behavior of this depth. That button over here, so I can control, let's say, any of the types, and I want to be slider. So you can see we have our slider that we can choose. Right. But we are not ready yet. So minimum value, so that will be, I want to enter 400s and the maximums only until say 700. But then we also have the step size. So the smaller step size, the more option that you have. So let's say I just want to give it 5. Right. So I'm done. Okay. So we have our tools. So above here, I can just simply manually, and the bottom here, I can just simply click slide. That's done. Right. Maybe I want to change. I don't want to just simply done. I can change the predefined button. So let's say you want to have an OK, cancel, and apply. So when I click over here, I can change first, then I can apply. So quite easy, right? So you can just simply control from here. Now, this is still quite simple. So just use the parameter to change the value. Let's say we have another things that we would like to control, which is the type. For example, we have this drawer over here. So we want to have a simple tabs and also the classic tabs, right? The normal and classic that we can choose like we did before. So to do that, go back to my models. I already created 2 models. So one is the front drawer, which is the normal one. So if I turn off the visibility, you can see this one is the classic one. Right? So if I turn off this classic one and I turn back the normal one, you can see it is much more simple. So this is the normal. So we want to have the button that we can change between these two. So to do that, I'm going to create another parameters so that I can control from there. So parameters. So for this time, I'm going to add text. So I'm going to name this one as a type. And then the equation will be the text. So the first one will be normal. And the other selection I want to add will be the classic. and I'm going to add from here. So, okay, now I have two options that I can simply select. Now we have that. Of course, this not actually have any things yet, so we need to input our roles on our job. So I'll go to my roles, and on this I'm going to edit the roles, and I'm going to add new rules, so which will allow me to turn on and turn off types of the cabinet. So we have our snippets that we can choose from here, right? So you don't need to memorize, right? So we have also other snippet from here that you need to select. Right? So for this case, I'm going to use this, and it will give me the expressions. So if, for example, my rules that I want to select is normal, so what has been changed, right? So I can just input the rules over here. So let's go back to our parameters. So we have our types. So my expression is if type equal, say, normal. Then what will happen? So if I select normal, what will happen? So for this, I want some of this to be suppressed and some of this unsuppressed on this box as well. So we have our drawing front and also this classic one. So I can simply select and capture the states. So you can see I don't need to type everything, so I just need to right click, capture the states, and it will show me. So the type is normal, then this one is true, so it will show me the drawing front, and the other one is classic one. We capture states. So if this normal, the drawer front is true, but the classic one will be false. So the classic one will be suppressed. Right. So we have our first selection. I'm going to add another selection for classic one. So if we already have that, I would like to add some more. Else if, then my expression is that else if my type is classic, then so I can just simply this one just rearrange. Then my normal one will be false. False. But my classic one will be turn on. Right. So it will end until here. So we're going to save. So we have our rules. I'm going to add inside my form. So I'm going to edit this one, and we have our parameters that we can input from here. So we have our selection. Right. So again, you can control your behavior of selection. Say I want the list, maybe radio group, so I can select from here. Right. So maybe I just want combo box. So it's okay. Go back to my cabinets. I have a normal one. So if I go to classics, let's say I change some of this value, and then I hit apply, so it will change into classic. Okay, so I forgot something over here, which is I needed to actually create on the model states. I need to create a new model state first. So let me do that one. So model state is actually for Inventor 2022 or 2021 and below. This actually named as level of detail. So the below one you can use you can create new level of details. Let's go back to my model. So let's try to run this one. Number one, classics. So Only because this one has been turned off previously. So right from the master, I already this one, so that is the problem I have been facing right here. So maybe I just need to turn off this one first. I'm just going to cut so that I can just paste this. See if I can turn this one back on. Okay, let me just undo this one. I cannot undo it. Right. So the problem is because I did not actually created this one before, so that is why I'm having a problem to change this one to uh, to let this one be visible. Right. So the next step is if you want to create multiples parts, so just make sure that before you create on your Ilogic, so make sure to change first on this model text first or the level of the text. So create basically for this particular item. Right, so basically that is all. Right, so there are other things that I can also show you. For example, let me show you the finish one. Is so for my Ilogics, it's change whether classics or the normal one. Right? So you choose the width, the depth, and it will automatically change for you. Right? So there are many other things that you can use with Ilogic. So some of the samples also is that, for example, if you need to make some calculation. Right? For example, I have these car tires or wheels. So let's say the customer asks, let's say they want to have the wheel size of 20s and the number of spokes, let's say about 9. So I just hit apply. It will not only show me this particular uh, size in the VOV, also calculate the price. So if you need to prepare some quotations, so you can just simply just rerun over here to see the specs, and also it will automatically run the price. Right. So this one is also that you can use from the rules to create your own rules on what information that you want to see. Right. So again, not only that we can easily learn on how to use Ilogic, some of our Ilogic you can also find on the internet. So they have been shared on Ilogic or the rules that you can just simply download and just simply use. Right. So that is basically all from me. So if you have any questions, so you can ask. So let me check. So we have one question from Abdul Halim. Can I Ilogic apply to AEC module? So I believe the AEC collection, as you mean. So if inside of Inventor, you can also include or you can also bring for example, Rabbit file. So you can also bring Rabbit files inside of Inventor. However, I believe on AEC probably don't have the Ilogic capabilities, but if you already created the the models on Revit that you want to have an Ilogic, so maybe you can import these particular models inside of Inventor and run the Ilogic inside of the Inventor. Right? Because the Ilogic is actually part of Inventor tools. Right, so I believe I hope I answered your question. So anybody else you would like to ask, so you can just simply type in the chat. Right. In the meantime, so I believe no question. So before I end, I would like to share with you about our website first. Now, if you needed to, let's say, visit us or call us, so you can go to our AutoCAD, our AutoCAD system website. So you can just simply type in acadsystems.com, press enter. This will bring you to our main landing page over here. So we have our phone number over here. However, some of us still work from home. So some of us still work from home. Sometimes, if you try to call, if you cannot reach us, we can use our button over here, which is the live chat. So this one we will still be available for you to reach. So if you need to contact us, so you can use this live chat if you cannot reach us on the phone call. Right. So over here, you can just simply click at the live chats, and let's say maybe you have some questions, so maybe uh, so maybe you have questions regarding the price or anything, so you can just simply input and press enter, and it will, and our teams will entertain you immediately. Right. So if you needed to see our upcoming event as well, so you can drop down over here. So we have our upcoming event, our upcoming free online lessons that you can find over here. And also you can see our promotion and news available that you can read from here. Right. So thank you everyone for joining. I believe that's all from me that I would like to share with you. So have a nice day and thank you for joining.